Is it safe to feel safe? This might be one of the most important questions of them all. Because what we've learned from working with thousands of people navigating different types of health issues, safety itself feels dangerous. You're told to do the supplements. You're told to look for the tangible. You're programmed in many ways to try and move the needle forward with things that you can touch, feel, taste, and sense. But the moment you start to relax, something in you panics. The moment things start to move forward just a little bit, you distrust what's going on. The moment your symptoms improve, you're constantly waiting for them to come back. The moment things are going well, you're waiting for the shoe to drop. This is not self-sabotage. This is not you being chronically ill. This is your nervous system operating on a map of what it knows as safe. An unconscious map that was created in childhood. A map that says the world is dangerous. Don't let your guard down. And that map is keeping you sick. Today, I want to explain to you where that map came from, how it's operating in your body right now, and what it takes to transform it. Let's start with awareness. Here's what most people don't understand about our relationship with safety. You weren't born knowing whether you were safe or unsafe. You learned it in relationship with your primary caregivers. Between ages 0 to 7, your nervous system was creating a map, an unconscious map of what is safe, what is unsafe, what is dangerous, how do I survive? That map was built through thousands of micro interactions, constantly shaping your reality. When you cried as an infant, were you left alone or did someone come to you? When you expressed emotion, was it met with compassion or punishment? When you needed something, was it provided or dismissed? When you were scared, were you held or were you told to stop being weak? Your nervous system recorded every interaction. If your needs were met consistently, the world is safe, people are trustworthy, I can relax, I'm worthy of care. If your needs were met inconsistently or not at all, the world is not safe, people can't be trusted, I must be vigilant, I'm only safe if I take care of myself. This became your unconscious map, your baseline, the lens through which you experienced everything. And based on that map, you learned survival strategies. Maybe you learned I'm only safe if I'm perfect. So you became hypervigilant. You became someone who was taking on all the things because you didn't want to let go of control. Maybe you learned I'm only safe if I'm independent or if you don't need anything. So then you became self-sufficient. You learned asking for help was not actually going to get you what you needed. And so you took it on yourself to give you everything. Maybe you learned I'm only safe if I make everyone else happy. So you became a people pleaser, or you became an overgiver, constantly taking care of everyone else while sacrificing your own well-being. Or maybe you learned if I express emotion, I'm not safe. So you learned to suppress, put everything away in your body and never actually share what you're really feeling, terrified that vulnerability will hurt you. These weren't conscious choices. They are survival strategy. Your nervous system was doing its best to keep you alive and receiving love. And here's the thing, those strategies worked. You're here because of them, but they also disconnected you from yourself, disconnected you from your body, from your emotions, and from others. And that disconnection is what's making you sick and tired right now. You learned unsafety in relationship. And now, decades later, that unconscious map is still running in your adult body, keeping you stuck. Here's what that adult map looks like today in your health. You can't relax even when you try to. Your muscles are constantly tense and they stay contracted. Your breath stays shallow. Your symptoms improve or you start to make progress, but you don't actually believe that you're over the finish line. And so you look for reasons for those symptoms to come back. You finally rest and you feel guilty, anxious, and afraid that you're doing healing wrong. That if you're not constantly chasing the next supplement, the next biohack, the next protocol that you won't actually heal. And in your relationships, someone offers you help and you say no, you've got it all figured out, even when you don't. People show up for you and you push them away because that's the pattern you've known your whole life, that people can't actually be dependent on. You isolate yourself because letting people get close to you feels vulnerable. You give and you give and you give and you give, but you can't receive. You feel like you're carrying the weight of your entire family on your shoulders. In your healing journey, you do all the protocols, but your body still won't heal. You know what you should do, but you can't embody it. Why? Because your body is still following the map that it created at age 3. Here's what operating from that map, that unconscious map, is costing. Your body can't heal while it's in fight or flight, when it's in chronic stress, when it constantly believes that it is unsafe. When your nervous system believes that it is unsafe, your cells go into something called cell danger response. This is research from Dr. Robert Naveau at UC San Diego. When your cells detect threat, infection, inflammation, chronic stress, they go into defense mode. They shut down normal energy production. They close their membranes, which make it really hard to detox. They activate inflammation, and they send signals to other cells that you are in danger. Now, this response is supposed to be temporary. Fight, resolve, return. But when your nervous system is constantly running a childhood map that says, I'm not safe, your cells receive constant danger signals, and they stay in cell danger response. This is why you're always feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. Your cells can't make energy properly. This is why you can't detox. Your cells won't open to eliminate waste. You can't heal when your cells are in defense mode. Your inflammation stems from your cells constantly needing to brace. Here's the thing. You can't supplement your way out of a cell danger response. You can't diet your way out of a cell danger response. You cannot protocol or will your way out of a cell danger response, because the problem isn't a lack of something. The core issue is that your nervous system, the soil in which all of the nutrients come into, is currently operating on a map that is flagging warning signals at all times. Now, the cell danger response then feeds deeper challenges in your relationships, where you isolate yourself, which leads to more disconnection. You push away support and you can't receive. And all of this makes your health even worse, because we're relational beings and we need each other to heal. But because you have this unconscious map, you don't allow that in. Connection equals danger. Maybe in your life, it also makes it hard for you to enjoy the good moments. You're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. You may be in beyond your health challenges or issues at this point, but every time you go to get your labs done, there's a lingering fear where you're just looking for what might be wrong. You're surviving, not living. The survival strategies that kept you safe as an adult are hurting your health. The survival strategies that kept you safe as a child are hurting your health as an adult. Now, here's the thing. Is it safe to feel safe? Your childhood map says no. But here's what I need you to understand. That map was created then, when you were powerless, and you may have been in environments that didn't feel safe. You may have had to show up in ways to get approval so that you would be loved and therefore safe. And the map served you. You're alive today, but you're not that child anymore. The map that was adaptive then is maladaptive now. Is it safe to not update that map? Is it safe to continue running on survival strategies that are going to keep you in fight or flight? Is it safe to stay in chronic hypervigilance, contributing to all sorts of stress on your body, your immune system, your hormones, and your gut? Is it safe to constantly stay in cell danger response? Is it safe to let a 3-year-old's map dictate a 40-plus-year-old's ability to heal? The answer is no. The real danger isn't in updating the map. The real danger is in keeping it. So how do you actually update that map? What does it take to truly rewire your nervous system to find safety in feeling? Well, there are 3 core components. Number 1 is awareness. You need to see the map. You need to understand all of the reasons why you are the way you are. Where did your patterns come from? What are the specific experiences that contributed to your specific map? Recognize how these behaviors show up in your life. Do they show up as self-sabotaging patterns? Do they show up as triggers in relationship? Do they show up as certain negative thought loops? Understand yourself and how your survival patterns manifest. Because here's the thing, you can't change what you can't see. So we must bring the unconscious to the conscious. And that's what we're doing right now. This video is about teaching you why you are the way you are, giving you examples of different patterns that might be showing up on your healing journey so you can spot them and say, aha, you, pattern, part, aspect of me that doesn't feel safe. I see you. From there, you can have compassion every time those patterns show up. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have a pattern that's coming from an unconscious map. And that first step is the crucial step to lasting freedom. But here's the thing, awareness alone does not heal you, but it is the essential first step, because what you can name can be changed. Because when you can name what's going on, you are no longer at the mercy of it. The second pillar is called witnessing. We get our survival patterns, trauma responses, beliefs around what is safe and unsafe from other people. True, lasting nervous system rewiring happens in the safe, loving presence of other people as well. You learned unsafety in relationship, and therefore you heal unsafety in relationship. Not in isolation, not by reading more books, not by intellectually understanding the problem. You heal through being held, through being seen, by allowing these parts to be witnessed by someone who's loving and who cares. Why? Because your nervous system does not update through more information. If that was the case, you'd already be transformed. You know all of this. Your nervous system doesn't update through more information. It updates through direct experience, through repeated experiences of being vulnerable and not being hurt, asking for help and not being rejected, sharing your heart and being celebrated for it, showing your mess and not being abandoned, letting your guard down and being held. This is how your map rewires itself, not through understanding, but through embodied relational experience. I'll explain more about how this works in a moment. Number 3 is integration. Awareness and witnessing isn't enough. You also need to learn tools and skills to integrate new habits, new pathways, so that your nervous system can respond differently moving forward. Because here's the thing, even when your baseline shifts, life will still trigger you. You will still attract opportunities to see how safe you actually feel. And in those moments, you need skills. You need tools to move the energy, to release the emotion. And when you have those tools, the difference is you'll have the capacity to navigate when old patterns show up. When you have tools to regulate your nervous system, when you have the awareness to recognize when your patterns are showing up, when you embody the self-compassion to hold yourself through it, and when you embody the skills to work with these parts and patterns so you can choose differently in the moment. This is resilience. This is healing. This is having a nervous system that's on your side. This is you becoming your own healer. So that's what it takes. Awareness, witnessing, and integration. Let me break down how each of these work in greater detail. I want to talk about witnessing because this is a core piece of healing that doesn't get talked about enough. This is actually where the transformation happens. Your nervous system learned its map through relationship. And although there are tools to regulate, there are tools to soothe, there are tools to release energy, shifting the patterns in a deep and profound way will happen in safe and loving relationship as well. You need consistent experiences of external safety in order for you to calibrate internal safety. You need to be witnessed and seen through loving eyes. When someone sees you fully, sees your pain, sees your authenticity, sees your flaws, sees your hurt, sees your child, the inner one that's holding on, afraid, and that person doesn't leave you, doesn't try to fix you, doesn't try to change you. You're just there with you. Your childhood map in that moment will try to run. It'll try to run an old program, which is, if they see me, they'll leave me. If they see me, I'll be abandoned. If they see me, I'll be rejected. But in that moment, something different happens. When you're witnessed and they don't leave, your nervous system starts to update. I can be vulnerable and I'm not going to be abandoned. I can share my authenticity and I'm going to be held. But it's not enough to just have one experience like that, because your patterns are deep. Consistency matters. Repeated experiences of being witnessed by safe humans, week after week, showing up, receiving the medicine of witnessing. Because your wound came from inconsistency. Healing requires co-regulation. When you're activated, panicking, overwhelmed, afraid, and you're in the presence with another human being who has a regulated nervous system, you begin co-regulation. This is how infants learn to regulate themselves through their caregivers. This is how you learn now, through safe. And when you do this work with others in community, you feel seen and you witness them, you witness their courage, you witness their passion, you witness their resolve, you witness their strength, and vice versa. You start to wonder, maybe I've got that in me too. If they can do it, so can I. This is why the witnessing pillar is so important. This is why we need each other to really transform our nervous systems into resilience and feel safe, to feel safe. Through repeated experiences, the code rewrites. Vulnerable goes from dangerous to nourishing. If you trust someone, the fear of being betrayed goes to safety. You find safety in trusting others. This isn't intellectual. I said this once and I'll say it again. If it was as easy as reading a book or attending a meditation class or doing breath work or just sticking with the tools, you'd have a nervous system that is unshakable. But that's not how it works. Relational medicine is the most effective medicine. Through consistent experience with other nervous systems, your map is being redrawn. And through that, internal safety develops. The type of safety where you can rest in your body and not feel the compulsion to move. That safe relationship you were experiencing with others was a gateway for you to experience that with yourself. Through loving witness of another, you learn to witness yourself. You become your own safe base. Your body becomes your home. You belong to yourself. You can hold your own emotion. You have the resilience to withstand complexities of life and a healing journey. You can self-regulate. The code's been rewritten. Your baseline shifts from unsafe to safe. This is lasting transformation, not the kind that requires you to continue coming back for more. No, this is true lasting in your well-being, where your baseline operating system is now one that feels safe. This is how you heal the root of nervous system dysregulation, of chronic unsafety. Now, I want to also touch on the third pillar, which is integration, because no transformation is complete without integration. This framework of awareness, witnessing, and integration, they all work hand in hand. As you experience deeper levels of release, awareness becomes a powerful tool in your integration phase, because your ability to recognize when your patterns and your trigger and your old maps are going off allows you to stop, pause, and choose differently in the moment. Your ability to hold yourself when your patterns show up, the self-compassion you develop by learning skills to see yourself through the lens of love, to see yourself as someone you love, to see the parts of you that are afraid as ones that deserve to be held and witnessed and seen. And through that, you become your own loving parent by learning how to move energy through breath, through tapping, through so many incredible tools for calming the nervous system, through shaking your body, by building vulnerability in your life. All of these build your nervous system's capacity to meet a dangerous world and see it through a lens of possibility instead of fear. And learning how to work with your triggers and your patterns when they show up. Learning to pause, learning to ask yourself questions. Is this true? Am I really unsafe, or am I just uncomfortable? You will get triggered. You will get thrown off. The intention of this video is not to promise that you will never be rattled by life. The intention of this video is to show you how you can come back to your center and create safety no matter where you are and what you're doing. So as you become aware of your pattern, learn to be witnessed in them, and then integrate new pathways, you learn freedom. You become your own self-healer. You become capable of accessing internal safety medicine, which is the most powerful medicine of them all. When your nervous system updates its map, when you can embody this framework of awareing, witnessing, and integration, everything changes. You're no longer in the cell danger response. You can rest with ease. Trust becomes a natural byproduct of your being, where you trust in rest. You trust in your body's capacity to heal. You're no longer sabotaging efforts and looking for ways that things could go wrong. Your inflammation resolves. Your immune response improves. Your energy returns. Not because of another supplement, but because you addressed the root of the root of the root, which was your chronic unsafety, because your nervous system updated its map. There was one woman that we worked with, Susie, who when she began working with us, had an HRV in the 20s, 30s, maybe 40s. And after implementing this framework of awareness, witnessing, and integration, in 90 days, 12 weeks, her HRV went to the 80s and 90s. And this was the protocol. This was the framework. This was the method she followed. This was not because of another technique. This was because she let herself be witnessed, seen, and held. She learned awareness of her patterns, and she embodied the skills to move energy and increase capacity. But this goes far beyond your health journey. Lisa came to this work after a cancer diagnosis. She'd spent 70 years just moving on from one thing to another, never processing grief, always moving beyond the emotion, storing everything away in her body, never letting herself be held. Her map said, "I'll handle everything alone." Through this process, she was witnessed and held for the first time in her life, repeatedly, over and over again, told it was safe to be herself. Her map updated. 3 months later, unexpectedly, her husband passed, and she told me that she had the emotional capacity to handle that grief and that loss because of this process and what it did for her emotional well-being and her capacity. That's what becomes possible when you come home to yourself, to your body, to your emotions, to your truth, not because you fixed anything, but because you finally felt safe enough. So you might be wondering, how do you actually experience all of this? This makes sense on paper, Raj, but what do I do next? This is what we've designed the Liberate Method to support you with. The Liberate Method is a 12-week program structured around awareness, witnessing, and integration. In the awareness phase, we map your patterns and help you understand why you are the way you are. We then design personalized witnessing experiences with safe human beings who care to help you get doses of love, of feeling seen, of being held, so your nervous system can program a new baseline. And then we personalize your integration program to your personality with tools, processes, and resources that are tailored to your specific resilience profile. In that space, you're held in community with others who are also doing this work. So you'll never be alone. You've always got humans who see you, believe you, and cheer you on. And that's what Liberate offers. Beyond the theory, beyond the how-to, we hold your hand and walk you through the fundamental, lasting nervous system transformation. So I'll ask you one final time. Is it safe to feel safe? Your childhood map says no, but that map isn't serving you in this moment. You can't heal while running on survival strategies from your childhood. So here's what I know. You learned unsafety in relationship. You heal it through awareness, witnessing, and integration. This is how you update the map. This is how you feel safe to feel safe. This is how your internal safety develops. This is how you become your own healer. If you want to experience what this feels like, book a complimentary 30-minute witnessing session with myself or someone on my team so you can fully experience what it's like to be seen, of letting your guard down just for a moment in relationship with someone who cares. This is where awareness meets experience, where you feel what it's like to have your nervous system held by someone with safe presence. Head to liberate, LIBER8.health/witness to get started. You learned unsafety from others. You restore safety with others, and then it becomes yours. Internal, lasting. That's the work. I'll see you there.